Well, hello, my bosses. Today we are talking about something that is super important. I'm so excited for this video. It is about how I'm getting organized for 2025. Whether you are a planner addict, a digital nomad, or just someone trying to bring more structure to your life, this video is for you. In this video, I'm sharing my step-by-step process on how I'm setting up to have a stress-free, productive new year. Let's get into it. Step one of my planning process is about reflection. So during my reflection process, I like to look back on what I did this year, what my accomplishments were, my achievements, my struggles, my challenges. This step of reflection is not just for me to I never look for regrets or anything during this process. This is just a part of my process that I look back to see, okay, this is what went well. This is what worked for me. How can I use some of those tactics into the new year to achieve my new goals and objectives? And then the things that did not went well, I like to do a reflection on those to see what could I do better, what information can I gather, or what strategies I can implement for the new year that can help me still achieve those goals if those goals are still on my goal list. So reflection is definitely important. Usually around this time of the year, this is when I sit down and I just kind of look at my whole year. Now y'all, I'm not going to lie. 2024, see, I'm already ready to get into the new year. 2024 was probably, it wasn't the most challenging year for me, but it's a blur. I'm not going to lie. So many things happened this year for me. My father passed away in February. We didn't see that coming. And I had a whole kid that graduated. I went through high school graduations, high school parties, graduation parties, orientation for college, enrolling in college, getting set up for college, moving into college, becoming an empty nester. So many things happened this year for me, and it's just a blur. I was sharing with my sister on Friday, my God, it's like this year didn't even happen. I wasn't even here. It's almost like it was an out-of-body experience. So this year for me is an awkward year for me to reflect on, only because of that fact. However, I still need to do my reflection process so that I can start establishing my goals for the new year. Step number 2, setting goals. So for the way in which I set my goals for the new year is I break them into compartments. I have my personal, my spiritual, my mental, physical, and financial. And I list my major goals I want to achieve in the new year for under each one of those categories. But I don't just stop there. I also further break down those goals into smaller units. You have to eat your elephant one bite at a time. And I mentioned that on my very first video. We need to stop normalizing business, guys. Being booked in business is not cute. Being booked and busy is not cute. It's not. Honestly, when I look at people who are booked and busy and they're bragging about it, that precipitously means that you have poor time management. If you want to know the truth, you have poor time management, or you need the business of life to validate your existence, and that's sad. And people who are doing that, you need to stop it. But during this time when I set my goals, I set goals, and not only do I list the goals I want to achieve and I break them down to the lowest denominator, but I also set realistic timelines as well as realistic achievable measures to get those goals accomplished. The most disheartening thing, and one thing that can definitely break your success confidence, is when you set goals that are way lofty, too high, or your ability to achieve them. You set them outside of your ability to achieve them, and when they don't come to fruition, you tend to get depressed and distressed and sad and all that good stuff, that bad stuff. So set achievable goals and make sure that they're measurable goals. You want to be able to track your progress as you are matriculating towards your goals, and also, how close am I to success for this particular goal, or completing this goal, or how far am I away from success, so that you can make the necessary adjustments. But we'll talk about that later. But again, step 2 is setting goals, and not just setting goals, but set those major goals, break them down into each goal down into sub-compartments, and then also make sure that you are assigning realistic timelines to get these goals achieved, as well as making sure that they are established in achievable measures. Okay, step number 3, tools and planners. So you want to make sure that you are utilizing the appropriate resources that can definitely complement your desire to achieve your goals. You want to make sure that the resources that you're using are great resources that can capture, like we just mentioned, goals that we're setting. And when you set those goals in smaller units, you want to make sure that you're able to track those in a manner that's efficient and effective. I'm an Excel girl. I love Excel, so I pretty much, especially with my budget, I always, have my budget on Excel, and that way I can insert my appropriate formulas just to make sure that I am on track financially with the financial goals that I have set. As far as any physical goals, I do use my phone to actually track my weight loss, my measurements. I take my measurements once a month. As you all know, I am on a weight loss journey, and I use my phone to track my measurements. So every 30 days, I measure the same body parts just to see if I am losing my inches, as well as I like to track, things as far as my weight. So of course, I also use my fitness app. I also am using, I think it's called Sync, which is the app that's associated with my scale. It produces all the necessary data that I need to be able to see what my BMI is, my fat content, my muscular content, my bone density, all those things. It regurgitates all of that data back to me so that I can effectively and efficiently track where I am on my weight loss journey. Another tool that I use as far as my personal emotional tool, my mental tool, is journaling. Guys, I have a prayer journal. I go back and watch how God just showed up amazingly and answered the prayers that I have, I capture. A prayer journal, when I tell you, if you don't know Christ and you just don't believe in him, I challenge you for 2025 to get a prayer journal. Write down your prayers. And in a prayer journal, you write the prayer down, put the date beside that prayer. And then when that prayer is answered, you go back and you put the answer to that prayer, how God answered that prayer, and the date. When I tell you mind blowing, if you want to see Christ on paper, track your prayers. And not just your prayers, but how God answered them. It will blow your mind. I did that this year, amazing, and I will do that for the rest of my life, guys. I just love being able to go back into my prayer journal and just see how God showed up. And one of the interesting things that I love about my prayer journal as well is not only how he showed up and how he answered my prayers, but even how he answered the prayers when they didn't look the way I thought they would look. Amazing. Another personal tool that I use is my regular personal journal. I journal my feelings, my thoughts and emotions and all those things. And again, that just helps me get it out here so that I can focus on pouring into myself, as well as, reflecting and using that energy for other things. Okay. So again, look at the necessary apps. I also am a reader. I set a goal to read 5 books this year. I actually read, and I use Audible. The reading is reading, whether you're listening to it or you're actually reading, turning the pages, right? So just make sure that you have the appropriate apps on your phone, whatever you need to help supplement you achieving your goals. Make sure you have the right tools and the right planners to help you do so. And people still use good old handy dandy calendars, y'all. They still use that good old handy dandy paper calendars, paper journals, paper planners. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people like to write things down and be able to touch it. I'm a digital girly myself, but if that's your thing, definitely have at it, and just make sure that it has all of the items in it that can definitely help you stay on track with your goals. Okay, step number 4, another thing I'm implementing, I will continue to do in 2025, is time blocking my routines. With everything happening this year, there's so much going on, guys. I am a creature of habit. I thrive knowing what to expect. So I learned early on that what I needed was some level of consistency in my day in order for me to maintain, honey, my sanity this year. So one thing I definitely did was make sure that I stuck to a solid morning routine. It did something for me. It just helped. Not only did it produce stability and consistency with me, mentally, but it also just helped me keep me on track with my day. So time blocking routines is something that I feel as though we all should do. It definitely gives you a sense of accomplishment. So I have certain things that I do every single morning. I never deviate from it, okay? And once I've completed my morning routine, once my morning routine is done, I feel like I can take on the day because I feel as though I've already achieved something. I've already accomplished something, right? And so again, with me, God designed me to get satisfaction off of a completed task. So completing my morning routine is definitely, honey, I need that just as much as I need my coffee, okay? My morning routine and my coffee, that's what we need in the morning in order for us to have a productive day. And so making sure that I stay, in touch with my morning routine, it just sets my day off to a great start. Time blocking, you want to time block everything as much as you can. Your work, self-care, your household chores, your morning routines, like I said, whatever those things are that you do on a daily basis, y'all put them in time blocks. Allow yourself a certain amount of time to get certain tasks done. Of course, you want to leave room for the unexpected. Of course, you're going to have enough time, that is set aside for things that you don't have any control over, right? But that's another point too. I found that by having a morning routine and by time blocking my tasks that I know I have set to get accomplished for that day, it helped me to deal with emergencies and unexpectedcies way better had I not had a solid morning routine. I don't know if that's a mental thing, a psychological thing, or what, but I've had a lot of unexpectedcies this year, a lot of, things that I didn't see coming. And so whenever anything comes that disrupt my day, I have found that I was able to pivot much more successfully, having had already completed my morning tasks and other things that I had assigned to do that day. And I was able to pivot during that unexpected event in a manner where I kept my cool, I was chill, serene, I wasn't spastic, frantic, and all over the place like I probably could have been, but I was able to just stay calm, cool, and collected during those moments. And in addition to that, I was also able to just see things from a different perspective. When you're calm in the midst of an emergency, or not even just an emergency, just something you didn't expect, something happened that you didn't see coming, you're actually able to pivot better mentally. Translation, God changes your perspective, and you're able to receive when He changes your perspective during those moments and those instances. And I noticed this year by really, putting my foot down and making sure that I stuck to my morning routine, when things happen unexpectedly throughout my day, I wasn't frantic. I was actually able to sit down and, pivot and say, okay, we may need to take this task and move it till tomorrow or another day. Let me address this concern that came up that I didn't expect coming. And so definitely make sure that you are, again, time blocking whatever you can, be it your self-care, work items, more productive items around the house, even with your children, sports, taking them here, there, and everywhere as we do with parents. Make sure that you are actually time blocking those things so that it will afford you the opportunity to do other things that you may enjoy. Also, too, time blocking also helps free up time for you. Because, guys, we can't pour from an empty cup. We hear that all the time, right? And I am determined to keep my cup filled. And I keep my cup, my lantern, and everything God gave me filled. I don't have time to be walking around here, y'all, like a walking dead person. I just don't have time. I don't. So, for me, time blocking also affords me the opportunity to gather increase with my time, gather increase with, my tasks, gather increase with being more creative with the things that I am assigned to do. And it just also gives me increase in time to be able to have time for myself. And that I've also been able to have more, y'all know me, PMS, pamper myself, but they call it self-care. I've also had the opportunity to have more time for self-care by time blocking my tasks. So again, for step 4, make sure you set up time blocks for tasks and establish consistent routines. Step 5, stay motivated. Some of the ways in which you can stay motivated for 2025 is to create a vision board. Or again, look at your goals that you have set for 2025. Another way is listen to motivational videos. There are people out here who don't have anyone in their life to pour into them, y'all. They don't have anyone who can give them attaboys and pat them on the back. And like, Karen Clark shared, I think that's the one who had that song, you have to encourage yourself. Sometimes some people, that's all they have is themselves to encourage themselves. So listen to motivational videos. YouTube has a plethora of motivational videos that you can listen to. Denzel Washington, he has turned into a motivational speaker, and I listen to some of his motivational videos, and they are phenomenal. They are amazing. What's my man name? I can't remember his name. He used to date Gladys Knight. I'll put it up here, but he's a guru of being a motivational speaker, and I love listening to his videos. I love, sometimes when I just can't click and I just can't seem to get myself out of a stagnation or stagnated time or space, I'll turn on some motivational videos and listen to those. Or have those people in your village, your tribe, who are encouragers. Lean on the encouragers that are in your tribe. Everyone in our tribe serves a certain purpose, guys. I have people I call who pour into me. They remind me of my greatness. Not that I need somebody to, brag and boast about me, but some days you just need to hear that. And I know the individuals in my tribe that I can call who will be able to pour that into me. Okay? First and foremost, I always go to the Word of God and read what God says who I am, right? I'm a royal priesthood. I'm fearfully, wonderfully made. Before my mother even thought about having me, He formed me before He placed me in her womb. So I read those things to remember this is who I am in Christ first and foremost. But let's be honest, we're flesh, and and we all have gifts and assignments, and God places encouragers in our midst. And some encouragers who are in our space, who are in our tribe, that may be their gifts. So don't deny people their gifts, guys. If you are, going through a slump, having a slumpy day when it comes to just getting up, getting motivated, doing things, call those encouragers in your village who will, pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm dealing with, and let them do their thing, okay? Another way I could stay motivated is treating myself. And what I mean by that is if I have a good workout and I've lost some weight, then I like to go out and not self-sabotage. I don't go out and get a cheesecake. But I will actually, take photos of my progress, my weight progress, and that motivates me, guys. I post it around, in my bathroom, or I'll keep it on my phone and go look at it so that I can remember on those days that I don't want to get up and go to the gym, those days I don't want to go to the mall and walk, those days I do want to grab that cheesecake honey and go to Cheesecake Factory. I will look at those photos and say to myself, hey, you're doing a great job. We're not going to self-sabotage. We're going to keep moving. Make sure that you just put those tools in places now in 2024 that you know that you're going to need in order to keep you motivated in 2025. Okay, guys, last but not least, the last thing I will be doing in 2025, which is tip number 6, stepping outside of my box. In 2025, I do plan on doing things that I normally would not do, and i.e. travel different places. I'm not the best traveler because number 1, I hate flying. Number 2, I do not like staying away from home for so long. So after about the 4th day, I'm ready to come back home. But I do want to enlarge my territory when it comes to traveling and having different experiences in 2025. So now that I'm an empty nester, honey, I gotta get out of here. So that is one of the things on my list, is to step outside of my box and travel more. I've never been out of the country. That is on the list for 2025 as well, among some other things. As far as my content creation, there are some areas I'm stepping into in 2025 that most people would say, I cannot believe you're actually going to do this. Yes, I am. So just, you know, to me, that keeps me motivated, and it's also going to help keep me organized, because the things that are out, that I have on my list that are out of the box, are things that are actually going to complement all the other things on my list and help get those goals accomplished. So now, step number 6, reward yourself by doing something that you wouldn't normally do. Step outside your box. Open your mind and heart up to new experiences. When you take the road less traveled, it's about the journey. It's not, don't take the road that everybody else takes, right? It's about the journey. It's about the lessons that you learn on the journey. I read The Alchemist last year, and that's basically what that book was about. If you haven't read it, I'm not going to do a spoiler, but it is definitely about the journey of life. And that's where the lesson is. And I know that's cliche. You've heard that probably millions of times, but it is so true. So I feel as though stepping outside of my box in 2025, doing things that are different, things that are outside of my norm, would definitely not only help keep me organized with the other things that me stepping outside of my box will complement, but it will also help me learn a new version of myself. Because again, y'all, life is a journey, and we are constantly learning. When you stop learning, you stop living. All right, y'all, that is it for how I am getting organized in 2025. Comment down below, y'all, and let me know what you all are doing to get yourself ready for 2025. What are the tactics? What are the things that you thought about that you're going to use to help you have a better 2025? All right. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and what? Be glad in. Y'all don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I drop a new video. And I will speak with you all soon.